Hello everyone. This is a 2012 Freightliner Cascadia with a DD15. I just had my check engine light come on and the fault code is, as you see there, the DPF ash accumulator code. That is an indicator that the DPF filters have reached the max ash level and they are at the end of their life cycle, so they need to be replaced. Now the next step is accessing the SCR box, which contains the DPF filters. The first step to access that is to remove these steps, and you need to remove these 10 bolts, 4 there and then 2 more there, and they are the T40 torque bits. Once you've removed all of those T40 bolts, the steps remove right off, and then this panel here just easily pulls right off. Once you remove the steps and the panel surrounding the SCR box, you have the support beams for the steps. You need to remove these 2 support beams by using a 9/16 wrench and 9/16 socket. Those 9/16 bolts are located at each end of each of these support brackets. Down here, down here, down there at the bottom, and then the last one is at the bottom there. When removing the bolts, remember the orientation of which hole the bolt goes in with the bracket compared to the other bracket, so that you can get them aligned back properly when you reinstall it. But once you remove the bolts, they just come right off. Now the DPF filters are located behind this panel, and to remove this panel there are 6 10mm bolts that need to be removed, 3 on each side. And then you also need to remove this sensor, and that will require a 17mm wrench to remove that. Once you've removed those 10mm bolts from the SCR box, this panel, you'll have to lift it above the sensor housing and then slightly push it inward because it's a tongue and groove. Then lift up and it comes right off. Now that we've removed the outer panel, the heat shield, we have access to the particulate filters. Each of these filters are held in by clamps on each side. The clamps on the right side are removable by using a 13mm socket. The clamps on the left side are removable by using a 16mm socket. Once you remove those bolts, you can bend the clamps out of the way, then the filters should come out. These clamps, you may have to cut them out, but there are clamp kits that you can get, and it's highly recommended to get a new clamp kit with the new filters. I got the clamps removed, and like I mentioned earlier, it's highly likely that you'll have to cut both clamps. I only had to cut one, but once I cut it, I was able to break this seal. So once you get these clamps loose, gently with the pry bar, flat bar, lift up under the filter, and then it'll roll right out. One thing that I didn't mention earlier is this back plate here. There's a bolt on each side on the top and then 2 bolts on the back that need to be removed, so that gave us some room to remove this clamp. But we got them removed, and I didn't have to cut these clamps, luckily. But once we got the clamps slid to the middle of the filter, we were able to roll it out. Once the filters are removed completely and the clamps, there are some seals that go into a little groove right around each side on the front side of the box. You may have to use a really small eyeglass type flathead screwdriver, something really small to pry in there. But then once you get them pried out a little bit, you can just pull them right out of the groove Voila. And once everything is removed, before installing the new filters, clamps, and seals, make sure that you clean the inside of this seal channel on these side, on the front side, and also clean around here really well. I'm going to get an air compressor and I'm going to blow all of the bottom out, try to get as much dust and everything out. And then once that's complete, you'll be ready to install the new ones.